How's it going, everyone? It is Broomstick here. We are going to press F in the chat if you guys are here. You know, the comment section. We are going to press F today on today's video for Mr. Charlie Kirk. He wasn't really an ideological ally, from what I'd consider. I think the biggest things with him is he subverts a lot of men's interests for the sake of the kind of neocon, tradcon, right? So, the whole thing of improve yourself, men. Settle down. Get yourself one of these 35-year-old roasties. Stuff like that. He was a big proponent of that behavior from men. And the whole, men should be staying virgins thing. That strategy doesn't work anymore. It definitely work if there were virgin women out here. Then it's okay, male virgin gets with female virgin. That marriage, once it's consummated, that thing probably would last, right? But that whole just be virgin, bro, and Virgin Max thing, I personally, I don't think that's a good strategy in today's day and age. I think, I think you're just going to be left behind / left out. And, maybe when, maybe you do have someone giving a chance on you, one of these non-virgin women, 99.99% chance, right? She might think, she might get the ick, might get cringe if you're, unexperienced. So the other issue, obviously, with Mr. Kirk was the support for Care Bear Land and the, he did that summit with 20 students from his I forget his conservative student group, something America, I don't know. If it comes to me, I'll let you guys know. Turning Point America, maybe, I don't know. But he had 20 of those guys and did a summit with them. But all of them, for the most part, because they're these Gen Z conservatives, they're asking him yeah, I just don't know about Care Bear Land. I don't really understand why the U.S. has this agreement to send $4 billion annually to Care Bear Land, which is about the same valuation of Wendy's, guys. So it's basically the U.S. is just kind of repackaging the same. If you broke down and sold all of Wendy's today, it'd cost you $4 billion, man. It's the market cap of Wendy's. So that's how much money annually is going to Care Bear Land from the US dollar. So there are these guys asking these very legitimate questions, and then Charlie Kirk's over there doing a Tucker Carlson impression, going, "Oh, guys, well, we don't want to be anti-Semites, do we?" So yeah, I'm not gonna act like this is a sad day or anything. If you are listening to this, if you're this far in the Broomstick video, odds are your ally was never Charlie Kirk. If this happened to Rehab Room, if this happened to Nick Fuentes, if this happened to Jared Taylor or something, maybe we'd be coming in here on this video with a different tone rather than an ounce of levity. But at the end of the day, this is incredibly sad. This is real political violence in the country. I personally would advocate for, keep your safety first, your well-being first. I think this is Dark Capsule 101, BP 101, but you can't live if you're not, if your health is jeopardized. You can't live an ideal life if you get paralyzed from a gunshot or car crash, whatever it may be, right? So, guys, take care of yourselves out there. Obviously, there's crazies out there. We gotta avoid the public transportation, guys. Public transportation is done. I was on the Thomas White show talking about how the last time I ever, I was still a lib at this time, and but I was questioning because I was in the stock market. Why am I getting taxed so heavily? The men's issues stuff, I think I was questioning that around 2022 as well. So but I'm this lib. I'm visiting my sister in New York. I'm riding the subway system or whatever, and that's when I was yeah, this public transit shit's done. I just kind of saw how bad it was over there in New York, and enough rats running around just intimidating characters running around. I remember I was walking with my hands in my pockets somewhere, and this guy started like yelling at. He's like, "You ain't got no strap, like cracker. Like you ain't got no strap, cracker." Like as at the, as loud as his lungs would let him. Like he's just yelling this, and I'm like, "No way, he's yelling that shit at me." So I take my hands out of my pockets, and then I just hear him start like yapping a different tune. He's like, "Oh yeah, that's what I thought. See, you's a bitch. See, I knew you ain't got no strap." Like he was just saying something like that. So I'm like, okay, maybe he was talking to me, but I got my headphones in. I'm like, I'll just keep it moving, right? I'm not even tweaking about it, even if he was yelling at me. But you just have so many like weird encounters like that where it's like, yeah, that was not ideal. I did not feel safe. Why would I voluntarily put myself in this situation? And I don't know if I mentioned this already, but we know that story about the Ukrainian girl in North Carolina. And that homie with the dreads, the schizophrenic homie, leaning over her and just getting ready to, drive one into her neck there. So, yeah, like, it's just getting stranger out there, guys. It's getting stranger. I think that was a quote from the Joker. So be careful with this political violence stuff. Obviously Trump got shot at. We got Charlie Kirk, R.I.P. So the biggest thing, guys, is like take care of yourselves out there. I'd even say like hide your power level. You don't really want to be in. You don't want to trigger anyone right now, guys. Even in and I'm not gonna even get on the whole gun control debate because I'm not sure it gets better either way. You start doing gun control and then the hoodlums start bringing the knives out. So I'm not going to say it's, that whole debate. I don't think that's necessarily the answer. But what does maybe need to happen, Martin Goldberg honestly made a decent video about this recently where it's like desperate people are prison maxing. Like maybe there's an argument that the crazies and stuff are willing to be crazy because at worst they get 3 meals a day, air conditioned, a place to stay, a place to be social. I mean, these Western prisons are not, not everyone's getting put in Alligator Alcatraz. I even heard that Alligator Alcatraz was like a tent prison. Like they just set that shit up for 30 days. And by the time they deported all the people they wanted out, all the violent people they put there, whatever, they just, they quit. They, took down shop from Alligator Alcatraz. So, yeah, I ain't gonna act like that shit, does anything. Yeah, guys, so it's just, take care of yourselves out there. Like, I'm being so serious, if you are getting big, you have a platform or whatever, I would not advocate, if you're doing anything political, maybe avoid face fagging if it were, honestly. Also, I'd say, be measured in like where you are, avoiding public places, unless it's something you think you'd be safe in. It literally is at the point where you need the Secret Service level treatment to go anywhere, do anything. They like sweep the grounds, they do all that stuff. Remember they caught that second Trump gunman, the guy hiding out in the bushes on the golf course because they saw a barrel poking out of a bush. Like, they do sweeps and stuff, and they'll like metal detector everyone within like a 1 mile radius, and they'll like close down a perimeter everywhere within the 2 mile radius and do a sweep there hours before. Like, they do all this shit, and it's getting to that point, but that's the only way anyone is safe. Because Charlie Kirk, it's not like he didn't have security with him or anything of that nature. It's just one of those unfortunate things where, you just don't have that Secret Service level security. And I think one of the other weird things about the whole Trump thing was just the fact that he Secret Service was there, but there was a weird thing about like the tilted roof, and people were like, oh, we didn't do the inspection because the roof was sloped and it'd be dangerous to get someone up there on the roof. And so it was one of those things where it really did seem like, the Secret Service, there was like, kind of like a plot to kind of like omit a thing where a gunman could get up there, like purposely leave like a speck in the sweep area. So it's like, okay, tell the gunman, if you go to this speck on, this latitude, longitude, there'll be a building. You can go up there. Secret Service won't check you. Another thing too is like, I don't really believe the Trump thing was so much a conspiracy, because I think that shot, like, if he actually was like a marksman who hit the earlobe of Trump and that was the whole plot, like, okay, he actually hit the earlobe, then it's hard to make a shot like that from that far out. So it's like, I just think that that's tough to do. So I wouldn't say that that was a conspiracy so much. I think the conspiracy more lies with, the Secret Service. Like, was there a plot for someone to get a gunman through, to get a bullet on him, that kind of stuff. So, but yeah, this thing, I think I'm going to really end on this Charlie Kirk thing. The biggest danger is like, if this ends up being a whole like false flag thing. So Charlie Kirk was, there's obviously this schism happening in the right now, the whole woke right debate, like, and woke right is just shaming language. Don't pay that any mind. That's a really stupid term. But this whole idea of, Charlie Kirk's this pro Care Bear Land guy, and what might happen is the false flag operation might be like, oh, the shooter who shot him was anti-Care Bear Land, and we got to do something about these anti-Care Bear Land extremists and stuff like that. So just be careful if that rhetoric starts popping up in the news. That's the last thing I just really want to end on. But I really appreciate your guys' time. Yeah, this is Broomstick. Peace.